Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 127 of Page Valley Livin'. We have a very special episode for you here today. We're in the county government building, and we're going to be talking with Page County Administrator Amity Moeller about a number of county issues, hot button issues that folks have been talking about over the last few months. In our first segment, we'll be talking about things like the Luray DMV, the traffic light out at Food Lion or Taco Bell or Page Co-op, whichever business you choose there. 59 acres that the EDA was looking to sell out in the county. Our new rec center that may or may not be coming, we'll see. The broadband project that's been going on down the county. You might have been seeing some work down Route 340 north of Luray. And in other areas of the county, and short-term rentals. We'll talk just a little bit about that. We're not going to debate it, but we're going to talk just a little bit about an upcoming public hearing where you, the citizens, whether you are a regular tax-paying citizen or a tax-paying cabin owner, you can come and express your views coming up in September. We'll talk more about that as well. In our second segment, we're going to talk big money. We're going to talk about how the county has built up millions in reserve, where some of that money has gone, how much we may have left, what big ticket items we maybe need to be planning for, like our jail situation or the landfill or our schools. And we'll talk about a new tool that the General Assembly has given the county to raise some funds for school construction. We'll talk about all of that and more when we come back with Page County Administrator Amity Moeller on episode 127 of Page Valley Livin'. We'll be back in just a moment after a word from our sponsor. Hawksbill Assisted Living in Luray is now accepting new admissions. Hawksbill Assisted Living, powered by Valley Care Management, offers quality care at affordable rates, professionally trained staff, and veterans aid and attendance. Come visit Hawksbill Assisted Living, located near the beautiful Hawksbill Greenway in Luray. Call for a tour today or learn more at valleycaremanagement.com. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 127 of Page Valley Livin'. As we said earlier, we're here today in the Page County Government Center on South Court Street in Luray to talk with Amity Moeller, Page County Administrator. Amity, first of all, thank you very much for seeing us today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
My
that.
pleasure.
I know you are an extremely busy person, so I do appreciate this time that you've set aside for us. So the first question, I'm going to ask you a really big one, very, very important question. How are the grandkids?
They are great and growing too fast.
I know you went out to Nebraska this past week and spent some time with them. How many and what are the names and ages?
I have two. Elise is 4 and Jameson just turned 7.
Oh, wow. Great ages. That's
Yes,
fun
very
ages.
fun, very
That
fun.
is fun ages right there.
Very energetic.
No offense to our teenagers. But those are fun ages. All right, let's jump right into it with an issue that has been very well received here in Page County. Obviously, I think back around April, the Luray DMV shut down. What many people probably don't realize is that these DMV Select offices are run by third parties that come in as an operator, almost like operating a franchise of a fast food chain or something like that. But there were issues. There was an investigation. They shut it down. And then the county kind of came to the rescue, so to speak, and you're going to reopen it. So
Yes.
talk to me about, how did the county get involved and why did it feel that need to get involved and some of what it has taken to get us at least to this point?
Okay, the DMV Select manager initially reached out to me on June the 3rd. He emailed me and kind of explained what happened with the shutdown of the current DMV Select in Luray, and asked if the county would be interested in taking over the operations. Mm-hmm. Of course, I thought it would be a great idea because the community lost such an important service, and we saw the public outcry for that. So I did. One of the things with that is that it is very also helpful to the treasurer's office because they put a stop if you haven't paid your taxes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's going to be a lot easier if you walk across the hall. So I did speak with the treasurer. She was very excited about the opportunity, so
Good.
I took it to the board, and they were 100% in favor of providing this service to the county.
Ton of paperwork probably involved.
It has been a lot. Of course, there is an upfront cost to the county. We've kept it very minimal. We've had to outfit the space, complete all the paperwork. It required me to get FBI background check because it is under my name.
All right.
Yeah. So then we had to go through the hiring process. All of the employees have to be vetted. They have to have
Yeah.
their state police background check, and then the required training. So from June 3rd, and we hope to open in mid-September, which I think is a phenomenal turnaround. And that's going to include the training that is required, week-long training for each new employee.
Well, it sounded like you had a good stable to choose from. 100 applications
Absolutely.
for one full-time, one part-time?
Well, we were initially going to hire for 2 full-time and
Okay.
2 part-time.
Okay.
The applicant pool for the part-time was much smaller, and we had some pull out that morning.
Okay.
So as we interviewed, it is more difficult to keep part-time employees, we have found, so we just went ahead and did 3 full-time after
Oh,
that day.
3 full-time. Wow,
Yes.
that's excellent. That is outstanding. Because that's a good job and good opportunity for people, and obviously there was a ton of interest in it. So you say it's going to open in mid-September.
Yes.
We don't have an exact date yet, I'm sure. There's folks out here doing work today.
Yes.
Where in the county, of course, if folks hopefully know that the county government building is on South Court Street in Luray, but where in the building is this office going to be?
It will be on the lower level, so if you come in the back entrance, the accessible entrance, it will be right down the hall. You may have come into that space for early voting.
I was
It
going to
used be,
ask, is it
yes.
where early voting was?
It certainly is. Right across from the restrooms
Where are we going
downstairs.
to do early voting now?
Well, it's going to be on the main level right now.
On
this year.
street level?
Yes.
Okay.
In the front office where GIS currently is.
Oh,
So
okay.
we've had to do a little workaround, but the board and I felt that the DMV Select was a very important service for the county.
Absolutely. I think you guys have gotten a lot of applause and cheers for this effort. I know that is welcome to get a few goods instead of
Yeah.
just finger
Yes.
wagging and all of that. One more thing so you've told us about, mid-September, we know it's going to be in the county government center. One thing that people are always maybe a little confused on is, for a DMV Select office, what services can you get, what services are not offered?
You can get your title work and tags, and then we are going to offer 2 services that we're not currently offered. So you will be able to get your hunting and fishing license as well as your Easy Pass. If you travel outside of the area, we're going to offer those as well.
License plates?
License.
You
You can
license
get your
plate?
tags here.
Yeah, right. Tags and
And
registration.
your
and all that.
registration.
Basically,
And title work.
Driver's license. That's the only thing.
The only thing, you cannot do your driver's
Yeah,
license
that's the
here.
only one. Okay, yeah. I always thought that was about the only thing you couldn't do. But I'm glad y'all are even adding. So they're
Yes.
adding services. It's going to be mid-September here in the government center. Ground floor. If you go around back and park in the back parking lot, you come right in. It's where the old early voting used to be. So that is exciting news. All right, let's go on to the next one now. The traffic light out at, you could say it's at Food Line Shopping Center or Taco Bell or Page Co-op, whichever business you're most familiar with or frequent. Basically, people want to know, this has been talked about for years.
Yes.
It has been one of the, I don't know the actual VDOT statistics, but it has to be one of the top 3 spots in the county for accidents, has been for a long time. So everybody just wants to know, we've seen plans, we've seen things that they want to do. When is it happening? That's basically all anybody wants to know.
Okay. Well, it was approved through the Smart Scale program in 2019, and it went to the end of the secondary 6-year plan. And they did tell us past 2 years in a row that it was going to be advertised. That did not happen. It did get advertised this year. So it should be completed by the end of the year, they've claimed.
So as the old joke goes, the 6-year plan is really like a 20-year plan, right?
It feels like it.
And for folks who don't know, that 6-year plan has various projects.
Yes.
It has funding schedules so that a certain amount of money kind of goes in each year, and then when they reach a certain level, then we hit the green light and go. And so it does take a lot of time for these projects. I know a lot of folks, John Coleman, I know you're probably going to watch this and wonder what's going on out at Food Line, but hey, it's coming as soon as we can get it out there. And you say it's going to public hearing, so when?
The project is going to be advertised
I'm sorry.
in August.
That it's going out for bid.
Bid, yes.
Okay. So
So-
that would mean within a year?
That's what we've been told.
Okay.
And I will say this is where I'm very thankful for our previous chairman, Keith Weekly, who has his connections with PDOT. He's
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So he continues to help through
Oh,
this
that's
process.
awesome.
Yes.
That's great. Well, kudos to him for that. That's outstanding. Well, that's great news. So we hope within a year. So we're going to get a DMV in September, and hopefully within a year, we're going to get that traffic light out at Food Line. All right, let's move on to another issue. We're on a good roll here. A lot of people want to know about the 59 acres that the EDA owns out near. It's out near the tech center. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
On
Out near the
Goodrich.
tech center on Goodrich
Goodrich.
Road, and we heard some things about there might be a developer coming in, want to put some housing in there. Of course, a lot of people spread a very false rumor that a data center was going
Yeah, that's
there.
not
That
happening.
is not true.
That's not true.
Okay,
Yes.
stop that on Facebook. So just, I guess, where are we at with that project and what's going on?
That project is still, or that property is still for sale. It has not been sold. That project is not.
That's that sale, that interest went away.
Yes, they withdrew their
Okay.
proposal.
Now, I'm going to make a statement. You can agree or disagree or just remain neutral. But it seems like the EDA is having a problem because they paid too much money for it, so they were kind of asking a high price. Therefore, it has had many, 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 many days on market. Is that a fair statement?
I think at the time that it was purchased, it absolutely was a ridiculous cost
Yeah.
that the
Yes.
county paid.
Yeah.
I think now you
We've
probably could,
almost caught up with
I
it.
think you could get that.
Because it's been over a decade.
Oh, yes.
Maybe 15 years or so. Because I can remember, what it was purchased for and what was supposed to go, all those things. And there have been some other projects. Page Valley News did a sort of an in-depth on that piece 6 months ago, or I can't remember exactly how long ago I wrote it, but kind of goes into the history, and there have been several almost sales and plans for it, but the price seems to have been the prohibitive factor. So for you folks out there wondering about the land out near the tech center, it's on hold. The sale didn't go through. Nothing's happening. We're right where we've been for a decade and a half. New rec center. So I know that this project is kind of in limbo. Let me first say, it appears that the board is in favor of doing something. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a fair
So then I guess the big thing is we're just not quite sure how we want to do it in terms of cost and what type of building and the location, right?
That's correct.
And what else can you tell us about where we are, say, right now on a new rec center?
One of the things that they are in agreement that they want to do something, but as you mentioned, the location, the cost, how you're going to pay for it, and also the school study kind of hinges on that because you can reuse some of those schools potentially for
But if
maybe
we have
affordable
fewer,
housing or
yeah, because my fear is if we have fewer schools, then we have fewer gymnasiums, we have less facilities, so that might push more on the rec center. I got to say, I give Mr. Guzzi a lot of credit for the work he did on this project, working with Andrew.
Yes.
Andrew Good, the rec director, and I swear I thought we were that close.
you and me both. As far as affordability and the location, I thought that was the best option at the time, especially for what it would cost and the way that the means that we had to pay for it at that time. And so I feel like we missed out.
Well, we'll move on. Basically, that project is in limbo. It does seem positive for those who want that project. I do think it's going to move forward. It's just a matter of when and how and where. So that's still being kicked around, and I know it's already been several locations looked at. But at some point, hopefully, that there'll be a resolution there. Two more things in this segment here. Broadband. Everybody's asking about the work along the side of Route 340. Particularly north of Luray and some other areas. So where are we with the All Points Broadband project that we got in after kind of COVID, and it was a regional project, and we jumped in, which, by the way, I thought was very forward thinking on the part of the board and the county government. Where are we at?
So it should be completed by the end of this year in December. That is the deadline.
Okay.
It has to be completed by then. As of today, I'm going to be getting daily updates as to where they will be working.
They just started today.
Well, no, they've been working here,
Okay,
but
okay.
I'm just getting daily updates
I
as
mean,
of
your
today.
updates started today.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
that's what I
update
meant.
started today. So these will be posted on the county website under the All Points Broadband
Right.
tab. This has already gone on there today, but you can see they are in northern
So
County.
repeat that. People can find this on the county
On the
website.
county website,
Where?
under the All Points Broadband tab. There's a section there that's kind of highlighted when you go to the website. It's on the front page.
And is that going to be updated daily with
Yes.
the work that's
Yes.
being done?
As we
Great.
get them, we are going to put them on there.
And just to remind people, this was a costly project. We're talking about millions and millions of
Yes.
dollars, but a very big chunk of that came from the feds.
It did.
From
From our COVID funds.
Yes.
COVID funds, and then the county, because we have done a much better job financially, we had the other almost $4 million to put toward this as well.
We're going to talk about reserves in the second segment, about how the county has built up reserves, doing a good job with that. But let's so that project is, the broadband project is continuing, should be done by the end of the year. There's that. One last thing real quick, we're just going to hit on real quick because we don't want to debate it, is short-term rentals. That is the hot button right now. We just want to remind folks, last Monday, the Board of Supervisors unanimously set a public hearing for Monday, September 21st. And you say that's going to be at LES?
Yes.
Because the high school is being used for the RAM clinic, the health clinic, that's going to be out there in September. So at Luray Elementary School on Monday, September 21st,
Yes.
whether you are an agitated taxpayer or a cabin owner or just a concerned citizen, please get out there and let them hear what you have to say about it, because this is a very controversial thing. The
Yes.
Planning Commission was split 3-3. Pardon me. Is there anything you'd like to add about that topic, or you just want to stay away from it?
I mean, it's a tough topic, but I do encourage people to come out and give their opinion either way. What that is, the board needs to hear that.
Well, we're going to wrap up the first segment with that. Don't forget short-term rental, about the changes in the code they want to make. I will note that, pardon me, that they took away the 2-year moratorium. So that was a big point for a lot of people. They've taken that away. When do you think they're going to be able to see a clean document that people can comment on the 21st?
Sooner than later, I hope.
Okay.
As soon as we have that, we will make that available.
Well, I know they talked about cleaning up a couple of things that they
Yes.
took out, and so that people could see what was actually being debated. So keep your eye out for that. I'm sure the county is going to put a notice out on Facebook
will.
when that's out and where you can get that. We're going to be back in just a moment to talk about big money, the county's reserves, and the big projects that may be taking some of it. We'll be back in just a moment after another word from our sponsor.
Whispering Pines Assisted Living is now accepting new admissions. Quality care at affordable rates, professionally trained staff, memory support, and short-term respite stays are all offered by Whispering Pines Assisted Living, powered by Valley Care Management, where home and heart meet. Call for a tour today on Leakesville Road in Luray, or learn more at valleycaremanagement.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back once again to episode 127 as we're here with Page County Administrator Amity Moeller. And in the first first segment, we talked about a half dozen or so hot button issues in the county. But right now, I want to talk about big money. I want to talk about those big ticket items and how we pay for them, the things that people expect, and yet they don't want to pay taxes at the same time. So let's talk about reserves. The county has done a great job. I've been around here about a quarter century, so I can remember back a time when the county government would borrow money, a general obligation bond, just to make payroll.
Yes.
As a bridge loan to
Yes.
keep things flowing and all that. The county, now I don't know what the current figure is, and you're going to tell me in a moment, but we had built up something around, I believe, $25 billion in reserve at one point. We're only required to have maybe 7 or 8 million.
It's close to 8.
Yeah.
15% of the general fund.
So the point being is that 3 times what we'd be required to have, we have in reserves. So let me start out with the first question being something I've heard from taxpayers. Well, if they've got all that money, sitting there in savings, and they've got surpluses in the budget every year. Why aren't my taxes going down? Why are they still, raising my taxes or doing this and that and the other? If it's taking less to run the government, then why aren't I paying less? So can you kind of address that to start with?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's taking less to run the government, but with all of the additional construction and all of the building that's gone on, we have gotten more in real estate tax. We have not increased your taxes every year. Actually, the personal property used to be $4.64. That has been decreased by 84 cents since 2019. So this year with the reassessment, and I absolutely will not argue that went up ridiculously.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But instead of completely levelizing that value, the board chose to reduce that personal property rate by another 50 cents.
Right. So the personal property went down.
Yes.
Yes.
Again, yes, it did.
And I think it should be noted that personal property, we're talking about your cars, your
Yes.
vehicles. We're not talking about your homes.
That's right.
Cars, they have their
Right.
own different valuation, and it's not like the houses that are going up.
Right,
So.
right. But that did go down. At one time, we did have close to $24 million in reserve. But what that allows you to do, that has allowed the county to borrow on much more favorable terms. We've been able to do investments in projects such as the broadband. We have been able to do the renovation for the fire EMS station. We have invested over $2.6 million into the school system. We did renovations at the courthouse, and we've been able to keep up with our regular maintenance items, equipment at the landfill, and things like that. So. But when you have the money that you can show that you can make those payments, then
Right.
it gets you a much lower rate.
You get a better interest rate, which saves you thousands,
Yes.
if not millions, over several projects
Yes.
over 10, 20, 30 years.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we have something unexpected happen, you have the money that you can
Right.
take care of that. I will say, especially with the DMV coming, I've heard some concern with the parking, because on big court days, there is sometimes lack of parking. We did purchase the property just behind the parking lot here, and that will be turned into additional parking. So
Okay.
trying to meet the demand of the court as well as the new DMV coming.
Because some of these things you have to do, if the judge says you have to fix the courthouse, you got
That's
to
right.
fix the courthouse, right?
Yes, you do.
And of course, now you're contracted with DMV, so you might have certain things you have to do that they say. And I was glad to see the new facilities with the fire and EMS out at Stanley. I think that with the acquisition of the squad down in Shenandoah and then this building in Stanley, that the EMS department as a whole is really on a big upswing, and they seem to be doing very well now. The reserves are currently at where are we at now?
We're just around 15 million.
Now tell us why we went from 24 to 15. What is taking some of that?
The biggest chunk of that was the broadband project. The match from the county was almost $4 million. So
Okay.
that's that big dip there.
But just to remind people that we're almost, 95% everybody has access to broadband after
Yes.
this project
Yes.
is complete. So it's a big deal in a rural area with a lot of hollers, and
is.
that's
It
a
is.
pretty big step.
Especially in the northern area, like Page Valley Estates area. They will all be covered with this project.
I think it's going to help a tremendous amount of people, particularly with more people working at home. And
Right, and it's fiber to the home. It makes a big difference too.
yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yes, yes,
The
it is.
fiber is the quick stuff that can handle a lot of data. Okay, so we're talking about the reserves. We still have 15 or so there. The broadband was a big one there that took a chunk of that. What did some of the other? Because that's a difference of about $9 million. Where did the other 5 or so go?
That a lot of the thing we've invested, as I mentioned, over $2.6 million more into the school system.
Okay.
And then there's been a few things, a little bit of overspending. In those areas we had to help the schools out the last couple of years. That was additional funding. And then when the state comes along and you've planned your budget and it's that projecting a raise for teachers of $1 amount, and then they add in the bonus, and and then come back and double what the pay increase was supposed to be, the county has funded that. So
And they had trouble with their ADM,
Yes,
and they had to
So
give
there's-
some money back to the state. And
There's been a lot of factors like that, so the county has definitely.
And you cannot
Tightened up.
anticipate all of that. I don't think
No.
that any fingers should be pointed at any particular folks, whether it be school system, county government, or
Right,
whatever. I
right.
mean, enrollment, sometimes you have to guess.
Yes.
You have to make a projection, and that projection can be off. And
Right.
it can be off in your favor, which it has been in the
Yes,
past.
yes.
And it can be off as it was recently, where we had to give some money back to the state. Let's briefly hit some of these big ticket items. All right, so we're just going to hit on these briefly because we just kind of want to know what may be needed. So a jail has been talked about since the 70s, maybe, or maybe earlier than that. But we're still hanging in there. We've got a good deal in place right now with our out-of-county prisoners. We had a little something going in Culpeper at one time.
Yes.
That kind of fizzled out.
Yes,
it just
correct.
didn't pan out where we thought we were getting a great deal, and then we had to pay a lot more money, and it just didn't wound up being a good deal for the county.
Right.
But now you said the sheriff has gotten everybody at one spot.
Yes, they used to have to transfer inmates to 4 or 5 different locations across the state of Virginia, and it was very expensive, time-consuming, and different rates at different facilities. He did a great job of negotiating an agreement with just Central Virginia Regional Jail, which is in Orange, and at a great rate. So it has saved
Wow.
a lot of money for the citizens.
Kudos to the sheriff
Yes,
on
absolutely.
that. Outstanding. All right, let's skip. So basically, no plans on building a new jail anytime, probably in the near future.
Not currently, no.
Not currently. Okay. Let's skip on over to the landfill. That's another big ticket item. One of the big ticket items is either equipment or it's opening a new cell.
Yes.
So when did our last cell open? How long might it last? When are we going to have to do that again?
I think it opened about 4 or 5 years ago. We are in the planning and engineering phase for cell 12.
And opening a new cell, I guess it depends on the size of it a little bit, but a couple million?
Yes, for the size that we're in right now, it's probably between $6 and $8 million.
Okay. So that's another one that's coming up that we will have to look at. One thing I'll mention about the landfill real quick, we were at a point where, and a lot of people don't realize, okay, at one point we were making money on the landfill, and it was creating a surplus. Most localities don't make money. They either have a transfer station or it's just a service, and the county subsidizes it, so there's not really a lot of revenue there and that kind of thing. But we have had the opportunity to make money. Now it kind of went a little bit the other way. We were a little bit in the red. We're about break even now.
We're about break even now. We did have some huge issues that kind of popped up in the last couple years, and it was kind of all at one time. And there was some design failures. We had a leach seep, things that are very costly that
Yeah, a
happened
big
all
piece
at
of
one time.
equipment breakdown too.
Yes.
So it was a lot of things at one time, and I think that was that first year where you were kind of in the red and
Yes.
and not in the black because so many things happened at one time. But generally, we're in pretty good shape at the landfill.
Yes.
If it's break even, folks, just remember you're not paying to dump there. Like
That's right.
at one time,
And
we
you
were
were.
charging
Yes.
county citizens,
Yes.
but now we are not. So we are doing pretty good at the landfill right now, and certainly I have memory that goes back a quarter century, so I can remember when things were really, really not going well at the landfill. So we're in much better shape there. All right, schools, school construction, that is a big one right now. We're not going to sit here and debate on which option's the best or what schools should be closed or not. Don't close them. We're not going to do that. That's for you guys to go out and talk to the school board about. I know there were some folks there last night at the school board meeting talking about it, and it's going to continue to be talked about till the end of the year, and maybe the school board will make a decision by the end of the year or early into 2027. But I just want you to talk just for a second about the importance of planning ahead, because the Board of Supervisors went to the school board and said, please look into this.
Yes.
I saw a school board member sit there during a meeting about a month ago and said, don't blame us, blame the Board of Supervisors. They're the one telling us to do this.
And if you go back and look at the tape, you know who it is. But the point being, you have to look at it. Of course you should be looking at it. You should be planning all the time and adjusting those plans. Because if I'm not mistaken, one of those plans is up to $200 million. And just to put that in perspective for folks, let's just say they decide to do that plan. I'm just for hypothetical. The last expensive project we had was the 2 high schools at $60 million.
That's correct.
And that was over a decade, almost 15 years ago.
It was.
And cost us $60 million and had been the most expensive project the county had ever undertook. And now we're talking about the potential of up to $200 million. Now, I'm not saying that's the option that's going to be chosen, but I'm just saying that's what's in front of us. Tell us reinforce telling us the importance of planning ahead for something that big.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you have seen that the board doesn't like to just raise taxes. They don't want to do that.
Right.
This is why it's important to keep our fund balance if there's money that we can put toward one of these projects, but we need to be able to plan for how we're going to pay for that outside of just a tax increase, and what that might mean for if they were to close any of the schools and what reuse could potentially occur from that. But you need to know how you're going to pay for it, which is one of the things that we are going to discuss next, I think.
Yeah. Well, and that's I am going to bring up a point about that. But obviously, we've got some reserves. But you have, I think, the law requires you to keep a certain fund balance.
It does. We have to have at least 15%.
And that's around 8 million.
Around
or
8
something. That we have to keep in reserve, according to law. So you just can't use all of that. You certainly can finance some of it. But one of the items I did want to bring up is that the General Assembly this year, as of July 1, approved the ability for localities to add, I believe, 1% to the sales tax that could be applied to school construction.
That's correct.
But you said that we're going to probably have to wait a year before we can take advantage of that because we have to put it out to referendum, right?
That's correct, yes. That will be on one of our upcoming agendas for the board to discuss if that's the way that they want to go. I expect they probably will, because that way they can spread out. What the chairman mentioned is that it will be spread out amongst our citizens as well as visitors. So it won't be solely on the backs of our citizens.
Right. It won't be just on those that own cars or those
Correct.
that own houses. It'll be on everybody who buys something, basically, out of town, in town, whatever. I think that'll be a great help as we move towards a decision on how we want to move forward with schools. And again, I don't want to get into the plans, but I will say that $200 million project, I think that's the 2-campus concept.
Phew. Yes, that was the Cadillac plan.
And the thing that folks do need to keep in mind is, okay, that's a big number, but that particular plan creates a lot of savings. Well, we've covered a lot of good ground here today. We've covered a lot of topics that people have been asking about, things we've been writing about. Is there anything that we missed or anything that you'd like to bring up?
I don't think we necessarily missed anything, but I think it is very important for our citizens to stay involved, to pay attention to what's going on in your local government, to attend meetings or watch them live stream. If you ever have any questions, you're welcome to come to the regular meetings where there is public comment allowed. Or if you ever have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to myself or any board member, rather than getting misinformation. I think it's great to go directly to the source and to come and participate in our local government.
Don't just read Facebook, okay?
Correct.
Because I do see it all the time. I've seen it for 3 decades. I've been in journalism. Most of the angriest people just didn't understand what was really going on. So make sure that you are informed before you come and wag your finger and yell at the supervisors or the school board members or anybody else out there. Well, Amity, I want to thank you so much for today, for your time. I appreciate that very much. I know you're busy. I think we put out some good information to folks today. And hey, if you've enjoyed this episode 127, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Page Valley News. We want to thank Eleanor Arrington for all of her work behind the camera and in the editing room this week. And as we end each and every one of our episodes, we want to to remind you to go out to the Page County Animal Shelter and help one of our furry friends find a forever home. For Amity Bowler, I'm Randy Arrington from the Page County Government Center saying until next week, enjoy that Page Valley living.